To play piano in a worship band today, whether you're in a church big or small, you can't just play the chords. You can't just hit whatever's on the chord chart and call it good. It's not just about the parts. That's the truth. You see, the parts in modern worship songs use all kinds of different sounds layered together. It's not just a piano, but you're hearing lots of different sequenced and programmed synth elements, pads, arpeggiated sounds, and strings, orchestral elements as well. In the keys and synth world, we call this mix of layered sounds a patch. Learning and refining how to build great patches is vital to you helping your band sound their best from the keyboard. So this video is all about how to build patches. And don't worry, if you're starting from scratch and this is an entirely new concept to you, we're going to make it simple. And if you've been doing this for a while and you feel like you already have some momentum and skill, this video is going to help you refine your approach to building these all-important patches for your worship team. We're going to explore 3 unique ways to build a great sounding piano patch for worship. And whether you're a beginner or you're an advanced patch programmer yourself, there's going to be things that you can learn and apply to your own programming. Along the way, we'll focus on how to do all of this efficiently, because we all know you don't have 10 hours a week to prepare your keyboard sounds as you practice at home. Now, each of these 3 approaches has its unique strengths, and make sure you watch all the way through to the end, because the third way I want to show you, you might not have even known that it's possible. I'm excited to share it with you today. Okay, so we're going to be working inside of the Sunday Keys app. This is our standalone app available for iPad and Mac. All of the sounds and everything you see during today's video is coming straight out of the iPad. We're just using the built-in screen recording function to get what you see and what you hear. No post-processing of the audio applied whatsoever. And if you're not familiar with Sunday Keys and after watching this video you'd like to learn more about how the gear connects, we'll put a link in the description to a more detailed setup and rig video that breaks down the hardware you need to use this kind of setup for your own church. All right, let's dive in. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to go to the CCLI Top 100, and we're going to check out the song Goodness of God. This has been charting for ages now. It's such an incredible song. And the original song is in A flat, and this is a female-led key. I'm going to play this in the key of D today. It just makes more sense for my voice. All right, are you ready to learn? Let's build some patches. So the first approach is to build a patch from scratch. And in Sunday Keys, we can do this by just hitting the plus icon in any set list and choosing create a new patch. And we'll just name this Goodness of God 1 right there. Okay, so this gives us a blank canvas where we can add up to 15 sounds. Don't worry, we're not going to add 15 sounds in this video. We're just going to focus on the most important parts and textures that we need to pull this song off live. If you listen to the original recording, it's a relatively straightforward song from a keys standpoint, and it has pretty easily definable components. You can definitely hear a piano sound. You can hear sort of an organ doing kind of country almost-esque things. This whole song in general has a little bit of that slant. And then if you listen a little bit more closely, you can also hear an electric piano sound that's kind of layered in with the piano sound. So let's go ahead and just very quickly find these 3 kinds of textures, and then we can start to play with sculpting it into a playable patch. So I'm going to open the browser in Sunday Keys, and it's really quick and easy to find what you're looking for. So we could just filter down to only acoustic pianos, and I could browse a list. There's still lots of options in here. So if I knew what I was looking for more specifically, I could choose something like upright piano and get a shorter list. Maybe we could try something like this guy. Or we could take it in a little bit of a bigger direction if we chose a grand piano, maybe a soft grand piano. I really like SK Grand Soft. Oh, by the way, you can audition sounds in the browser. Just select one and then it's immediately playable, which is killer when you're doing this kind of patch building. Let's go with that. Next up, we need to pull in an organ sound. I'm going to pull down the piano volume so I can just hear the organ. We'll choose organs, and we definitely know from listening that this is a Hammond B3 style organ. So let's pull in this ballad. that'll do the trick. We'll play around with this a bit more in a second. Let's bring that third layer in first though. This is one of my big tips when you're building patches is don't focus too much on any one sound at a time until you kind of know the palette of sounds that you're going to be working with. Otherwise, you'll really focus on dialing in that first sound. You add in your second or third sound, and all of a sudden the first sound isn't doing what you thought it was going to do anymore. Let's go to electric pianos. And I think this is a Rhodes style electric piano on the original. So we'll probably go with something like that. This Tiny Rhodes is one of my favorites. Let's see. That's nice. Let's try one more just to see the contrast. We'll pull in this modern Rhodes. It might be a little bit too subtle. I want something with just a bit like of chime, yeah. So this metal Rhodes has just a bit more bite on the top end, which I really like. I also want to call out this tremolo effect. If we open that up, we can see what's going on here. It's in stereo, moving the sound back and forth in the stereo field. So, all my life you have been faithful. So this is just that sort of almost country vibe. There's lots of tremolo in classic country music. This is also going to help separate it from the grand piano because it's affected. It's not just stepping on the exact same space over time and in the stereo field. It's moving in a way that the grand piano isn't. When you're layering multiple similar sounds together, it's a good idea to have something differentiating them so that it doesn't just sound like layer on layer on layer. They actually kind of cancel each other out. Bring that organ back in. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I have made, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. We can open the drawbars up with the mod wheel. Got mine linked to this physical mod wheel. Of course, you could use the on-screen too. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Yeah, so I've got this right hand just sort of holding that high D with my pinky. And that's really sort of just sitting on top of everything, which is a really nice texture to open up the sound of the bridge. All right, so I like this mix of the sounds. I'll go ahead and save this as my first snapshot. And then if this was what I was going to take to my set list, I'd program out a couple more snapshots to increase the intensity of the mod wheel, to open up those drawbars, maybe even make the organ a little bit louder over time. So we could save snapshots with those changes in place. Something like this. We could even add an octave above for that piano. Then we could just progress back and forth between these two. Hit that second snapshot and open it up. So there's a couple more things we could do as we build this patch from scratch. We could add a pad to give us the ability to just sort of fill a bit of space, add some glue, maybe just a nice warm pad. I would choose something sort of simple. Altar Call is always a great go-to pad. It's not super aggressive, not super noticeable. It just stays underneath everything really nicely. I think it's a bit brighter with the mod wheel. You can hear it there. Bring that organ out. But it's not really standing in the way of that organ sound. It's letting the organ define what's going on. So that's something that I would probably bring in, and then I'd let it sort of build up in intensity with that organ for my bigger snapshot. And then the other thing that we could experiment with here is where the sounds are playable on the keyboard. Specifically with this organ sound, it does fill a lot of space, and I like what it's doing in the high end. But we might want to actually take it out of the low range and just let the piano and pad and electric piano define or own that space. So we could do this really easily by just tapping the layer editor. We'll go ahead and choose the B3 organ, and I'm going to split it right here at D3. So I now have it here, but I don't have it here. The reality is that when this song was tracked, whether that was during the live performance or if they put this together in post-production, there was definitely a dedicated organist who was playing the organ like an organ. They weren't multitasking, playing pianos, electric pianos, pads, and organ at the same time. In most churches, we don't have the luxury of having a dedicated organist on stage. Maybe you do. Shout out to Isaac. But if you don't, you have to make some concessions in how you approach it. Layering sounds across specific parts of the keyboard is one way to move one step closer towards that acknowledgement that, hey, not every note is triggering every sound. So it's one little bit closer to having two different performances happening. Of course, it's a simplification, it's a compromise, but this can be something that you use really strategically to voice different sounds in different parts of your playing. So now I've got the organ in the right hand and I've got everything else sort of full range across the keyboard. And I think this just sort of spreads everything out a little bit more, leaves some more space in the mix. It also makes the organ a little bit less dominant in the mix because we're really only hearing a couple notes from it at a time. Then we can build, and if we play, 3 or 4 notes in the right hand, then it becomes more prominent. So that's building a patch from scratch. Now let's go through the second way to get a patch ready to go for goodness of God. And remember, there's 3 total ways, and this third way is something honestly a little bit weird, but I'm really excited to show you. Let's get through this second way. This is one of the most popular ways people use Sunday keys to prepare their set list, to find the right patches for their Sunday morning services, and it can save you a ton of time. Here's the second approach. We already built from scratch. Now let's add a patch from the library. Sunday Keys ships with a huge library of individual sounds: pianos, pads, synths, organs, electric pianos, leads, arps, tons and tons, literally hundreds and hundreds of sounds. And that can be great if you know what you're looking for and you want to design the patches you need step by step, sound by sound. But we also ship the library with hundreds of ready-to-play, pre-layered patches that mix all of those sounds together into stuff that you can just try and that's probably already pretty close to what you're looking for. So we have 2 different browsers. We have the sound browser, where you can find individual sounds like this, but we also have a patch browser, where you can view all of the ready-to-play patches that we include in Sunday Keys. So we can choose Add a Patch from the library and browse in a similar fashion, but these aren't just individual sounds. These are ready-to-play patches with sounds already loaded in. So the filters at the top are different because we're filtering now for a ready-to-play patch. So we can choose the genre. Well, this is a CCM worship song. What kind of song is it? It's definitely a ballad. We can tell the browser whether the song is tempo synced, meaning do we want it to have rhythmic elements like sequences, arpeggios, or delays? I'm going to say no, because this is sort of a pretty straightforward, sort of just playing the chords without a lot of sequencing kind of song. And then this last filter column is probably the most powerful one. You tell the browser which sounds you need included in the patch. And you can be as specific or as open-ended as you'd like. So you could say every single sound that you need to have, or you could just pick 1 or 2 sounds and then see what you get. I'm going to choose acoustic piano, and I'm going to pick B3 organ, because these are sort of the defining things in this song to me. So now I have a few different patches. Instead of a list of over 400, I now have 4 options, and I can try them. So this is already very close. I could take that and be happy. Has a bit more ambience going on, which I really like. cool. It has an acoustic piano layered with a digital piano. Something that's so great about having this browsing interface is you'll discover things that you might not have otherwise. I'm really tempted to use this one because I love the mix of that acoustic piano and the digital piano. I really like this one though. So I'm going to choose Hope and Confidence. Let's pull it in and we can see the layers, and we have a few different pads, and we also have a lead sound. This is ambient, sort of subtle one, which is really cool. And the pads can get pretty bright. And this organ is quite ambient. This is really cool. I think we could take this live, and when you load a ready to play patch into your set list, you can customize it however you'd like. I think I'm going to add an electric piano to this patch because I really do love the sound of that Rhodes style electric piano. So this time I'll pull in the tiny Rhodes. I'll pull in this lush one. And then we've got this now in the 6th sound module. So again, we can build out how we move through the song dynamically by just saving a couple of snapshots. So I'll start with the lead down. We'll start with this pad down. We'll save that. We'll build out a second snapshot where we just bring in that pad and the Rhodes a bit more fully. And then we'll bring in a third snapshot. This will be kind of our big bridge moment, where everything gets a little bit louder, and we'll also bring up the mod wheel so everything gets brighter and those B3 drawbars open. So this would be our verse. Then to the chorus. And then building up to the bridge. Nice, that's great. So let's go ahead and rename this patch Goodness of God 2. All right, you ready for the third way? I hope you've been waiting for this one. Maybe you've been using this feature in Sunday Keys. Maybe you've never heard of it before. It is something super crazy. It was a crazy idea when we had it. We call it Patch Builder, but it's not just a way to build patches. We've already done that 2 times. Check out how this works. I'm gonna hit the plus icon and choose Create with Patch Builder, and that opens up this text field. Now I can just describe the patch I would like, and we'll see what happens. So I'll start off with a basic description of the sounds. Upright piano, organ, electric piano. Will be pretty generic. I can hit Build Patch, and now Patch Builder works by harnessing the power of cutting-edge AI technology to build a patch based on what you describe in just a couple of seconds. All right, let's see what we got. All right, Patch Builder gave us the 3 ingredients we asked for. Now we can mix them, we can modify them, we can add to or replace them. It gave us an upright piano, soft and dark. It gave us a driven B3, which is pretty cool, nice and crunchy. And then it gave us a Rhodes. So we can mix these 3 together like that. The cool thing about Patch Builder is when you get your results, you can modify them, or you can just hit try again if you like the general idea, but you'd like some more options to choose from. So I hit try again, and now I've got something completely different. This is a way to discover stuff, to try things, to see what's inspiring. You should iterate when you're using Patch Builder. You should hit try again if you're not 100% satisfied with the results. For example, this is what I asked for, but it's not actually in the context of the song going to work for me. So that's an easy try again, and there's nothing wrong with that because this only takes a few seconds. This one's nice, it's pretty cool, it's very sort of lo-fi almost. It's kind of, you got this overdriven feel that's really cool. The other thing that you can and should do is hit Edit Prompt. This takes you back to the text field and you can add to or refine how you're prompting the AI. So in this example, I could make a simple change, like instead of saying upright piano, I could say grand piano, and I could say a pad. Just to layer this up a little bit more. And then the results are going to be very dynamic based on the quality of the prompt that you give it. So we could try this now. Okay, so you always need to mix the sounds that you get. So I'll bring these down just a little bit. This is nice. I think we could definitely run with this. It definitely has the brightness we need for that big part. And then we would just need to save some snapshots to bring everything down to the appropriate levels for the rest of the song. So we do that, and then we'll bring the volume of the organ up a little bit, and the pad as well, just a touch. This will be kind of our chorus. And then we'll build a big bridge where the organ is allowed to be full brightness, and we'll bring in that synth. Well, turn the octave and the delay on for the piano too. That might be a little bit too much. There, we'll save that, and now we can move through the song with these 3 snapshots. So, the chorus, and then the bridge. Cool. So Patch Builder is a way to explore, to discover, and to iterate very quickly as you find out the way that you want to approach a given moment of your set list. It's not intended to give you completed patches, but rather to get you 70, 80% of the way there to help inspire you and help you explore what you want to do from the keyboard. When you're satisfied with the results, you can just hit Use This Patch, give it a name, Goodness of God 3, and now in about 15 minutes, we have 3 different patches for the same song built 3 unique ways, all, I think, ready for the stage. I'm gonna play all 3 back to back, and you can do this too. I'm gonna create a shared setlist link. If you have the Sunday Keys app, click the link in the description to open this exact setlist with these 3 patches inside of your Sunday Keys and try them for yourself. Leave a comment and let me know which of the 3 you like the most, which you would take if you were playing this song at your church.